revenue's critical to our business, and ultimately forecasting revenue is my job. So my position is to understand effectively where we're going to be from a forecasting perspective. So the thing that tells me my forecast is ultimately pipeline. So I need a detailed understanding of where the pipeline is currently to support the revenue requirements for the business. Now, in a direct business, that's much easier to ascertain because we can get that directly from our sales team. When we're working with distribution, and particularly into resale, it becomes much more complex because we've got multiple different resellers to talk to understand where the pipeline is, where we need to make adjustmts to better support the channel to drive additional pipelines. It becomes very, very challenging for us to manage that in a channel model. So having a kind of single pane of glass that allows us to view that in real time to say, ultimately our pipeline is on track to give us 4 times coverage, which we need from a forecasting perspective to give us the right revenues, is critical for me to really run my business, and particularly for our channel teams. So that's really, really important. The other thing is when we're forecasting, obviously I'm forecasting to my executive team that forecasts to our board, and as we say in the industry, bad data in, bad data out. So it's really critical that we understand where the pipeline is today, where we need to make adjustments to increase pipeline if required, and also for increased training, enablement, etc. may be needed. And also to identify maybe the resellers that are not generating pipeline and how we can focus more time on those resellers to help them develop business on our behalf.
The vendor app marketplace actually helps us with a couple of challenges. One of those being around brand awareness. It's really important for us as a manufacturer and a vendor, as well as the other manufacturers and vendors that AmiViz partner with, to be able to get our brand recognised. And so having a single marketplace where the reseller partners that we want to reach and that we want to do business with can log into on multiple occasions and see that brand time and time again really helps to sort of strengthen our brand awareness and drive Intel 471 into the market. I think second to that is the promotional aspects. So again, another sort of challenge for us is making sure that we get those promotions out to the reseller partners as quick as we possibly can in near real time, if we can. Because the quicker that we get those promotions out to the resellers, the faster that they can then begin selling and obviously being successful as a result.
Using the app to get better control of our business in the Middle East. So that's a good question, because ultimately if I step back, the biggest challenge of coming into the Middle East is, for anyone that hasn't been here before, it can be a bit of a scary experience, a bit of apprehension of the unknown. So ultimately, when we come into these regions, we need to understand and be very deliberate and prescriptive of why we're coming in. And ultimately, if we're going to invest into the region, we need to ultimately understand the type of return we're going to get from the business. So our executive teams that really sponsor this will be very remote from the region, or very remote from what we're doing from a sales and a partnership point of view. So to be able to give them visibility in how the business is progressing. So as we come in on day one, what are we forecasting, and what are we forecasting from a revenue perspective? And then we can see the pipeline beginning to grow to support that forecast. So that begins to help people understand that actually from a business perspective, we're on kind of track. And then we can also feed back to understand how we need to adjust our approach to the region, or maybe we need to do additional investments on the investments we made are fine for the revenues we need to drive. But then we have to go beyond that into sort of year 2, year 3 as we begin to look forward, because we have to start planning for hiring new staff and new capabilities into region. And again, it's all based on revenue, and revenue is driven by forecast, and forecast is driven by pipeline. So ultimately, using the AmiViz app to really give us that real-time view, we can also use that data to inform our executive teams to drive that senior level sponsorship to give us the support to add additional investment required to support the business over a longer term plan, which is 1, 2, 3, 4 years, because we're always looking forward. We're not just looking at year 1, we're looking into year 2 and beyond, and what we need to get to that particular position and the desires of the business in, say, 36 months or 48 months.